Before we begin, please note, the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any affiliated organization. The content provided is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. We encourage listeners to conduct their own research and consult with relevant professionals before making any business or career decisions. Enjoy the episode.
Hi, and welcome back to the Science Warriors Show, where we explore the strategic forces that drive business transformation towards operational excellence. I'm your host, Adel Hameed. You can call me Adel. Today, we have a special science warrior, a guest who has been successful at implementing customer experience projects, customer experience enhancement projects, for small and medium-sized retail banks and businesses. Before we get into the discussion with her, let's review a few facts. The first question is, what is customer experience? Why is it important? And what are the challenges that face us today as leaders that we need to address and discuss? So if I start with the question of, would you believe me if I told you that the biggest threat today to your business isn't your competition? It's a poorly designed AI implementation. Could be a chatbot, could be a more enhanced version of an AI voice conversation, an AI agent that has been poorly implemented. And I'm sure if you have dealt with a bank, you called the call center, you've been put through that agonizing experience of talking to AI that doesn't understand what you're saying, or to a chatbot. Do you want to experiment with your customer experience and risk losing your customers? You spend so much time investing in your brand equity that keeps taking you into a loop, yet it doesn't solve your issue. So how does this impact us as leaders with our mission to establish operational excellence and excellent customer experience? How does that impact us? For high-stakes industries like banking, healthcare, and logistics, the pressures are high on automation. So they need to automate, they need to establish better efficiency because their margins keep dropping. And with the current economic conditions, with inflation, with the lowered spending by many people, there are lots of pressures to increase that growth rate. No CEO or leadership team want a decline in their profitability. So that growth comes either by expanding market share or increasing efficiency. And when you're talking about increasing efficiency or creating job cuts, that could impact the service that is provided to the customer. So this is where the emphasis on customer experience, maintaining that high quality customer experience that keeps your customers with you, loyal, having felt that they are being heard, that they are valued as customers for sticking around with you, and they're being rewarded. We have to start seeing it's not just about a function that you implement, that you could say, oh, I implemented AI, we implemented a chatbot. But it's about the core strategy behind it. You have to treat it like a strategic building block towards establishing that efficiency while maintaining high quality customer experience. And that is not an easy thing to achieve. This raises another critical question. How are leaders supposed to navigate this tension? The tension between the board members, the investors, and the management trying to get better efficiency, increasing the EBITDA and the margins, or increasing the market share, versus compromising or taking a risk on the customer experience. There is an article that I'd like to share with you here, an HBR or Harvard Business Review article titled "Using AI to Build Stronger Connections with Customers," highlights that these growing tensions will continue growing. It's not something that we can overcome very quickly. No executive especially someone who's responsible for operations, a CEO or a customer experience head, will be able to navigate through this easily. While AI creates exciting new possibilities for us as companies, as brands, it also sparks a serious concern about trust and the impersonal service that's provided as well. How can you rely on the personalization of the service, on the AI platform understanding the context, the emotion that the customer is in, or the context of what they're facing? So for example, if I have an issue with a refund that hasn't taken place and it's been over 2-3 weeks, it didn't show in my credit card, and I talk to the AI agent, and the AI agent keeps pushing me back to an article that is related to refunds and then saying it needs 2 to 3 weeks. And then I keep going back and I say, okay, I haven't received my money. It's been over 3 weeks. That's frustrating to me as a customer. That's not personalized. And I've actually personally experienced it, where I was put in an endless loop with the chatbot. So leaders have to navigate this, have to build empathy, and have to implement these strategies, these tools, with extra attention to details, taking it one step at a time. You cannot rush it. You cannot rush these implementations. So leaders are now asking, how do we implement AI in a way that deepens that trust? Like the example I gave you. So instead of eroding it, there is also a second article by Harvard Business Review titled Customer Experience in the Age of AI. Underscores that the true differentiator isn't AI itself, but how well integrated into the customer journey this AI is, and how it is weaved in a human-centric way. So it doesn't alienate us as a human being. Again, I'm using the example of me calling the bank regarding my refund, talking to this AI agent. This AI agent could have either understood the context quickly and directed me to a human being, or directed me to a page where I could choose a callback time where an agent could call me, a human agent could call me back, or immediately take the decision without having to go to a human being. And that's the future, taking those decisions that are low risk, that goes through a verification checklist that human beings go through as well, without having to go back to a human being and make me wait to solve my issue. And finally, there is also another article that I'd like to highlight. All of these 3 articles are important. I'll be sharing the links of these articles in the description of this episode. The third article is Customer Experience is Everyone's Responsibility. Challenges the myth that customer experience belongs only to the frontline team. There are examples of companies like DoorDash, where executives actually they work with the frontliners just because they need to learn. They need to make sure that they build empathy with the customers before they force anything down the ranks to be implemented. So with DoorDash's delivery service, some of the executives actually were making some of these deliveries to be able to build empathy across the layers within the company and also with the customers, which made the company have a very strong culture that is focused on customer experience, and where the employees are also feel heard and they feel happy, which creates a resilient culture, a more responsive culture to the customer's needs and the market changes as well. I recommend these 3 articles so that you understand more about the context that I'm talking about, and since we don't have the time here today. So these perspectives drive a powerful point. The competitive edge isn't just about better tech, it's about the nuances of human interactions in every process, showing empathy and building trust. That these 2 keywords, empathy and trust, you have to protect them, you have to establish them, you have to maintain them. And they should be the North Star for you, because anything that you implement has to maintain or increase that empathy. Because for that trust to be maintained, empathy has to be maintained. They're both correlated. Anyways, enough with the introduction. I think we're ready right now to get into the discussion with Mai Momani, and we're honored to have her here today with us. Mai is a regional leader in customer experience. She's been speaking about customer experience in many events, many conferences, on many panels. I actually met her the first time through a panel. We were both speaking at an event on a panel about customer success and customer experience. So she is very well immersed into how to turn around departments, to turn around experiences, how to build a resilient culture within a company. And it all comes from experience and knowledge, and she's very much passionate about it. She led these projects for financial institutions, and she will be talking to us more about her experiences. And often her focus is to rebuild the customer or the client experience from the inside out. That means talking to the customers directly, talking to the employees, being more involved, hands-on, rather than just being theoretical and implementing things out of theory, instead of also looking at a cookie cutter approach. So anyways, enough with that. Let's get started.
Thank you, Mai, for making the time to join us today. The whole objective behind Science Warriors is that we highlight operating executives, what they're able to do. They're, in our view, they're the scientists, they're the generals when it comes to building scalable operations. And where CEOs usually rely on these business generals or science warriors to execute on things. And I believe you've got multiple successes over the past, and especially that you've been working for the financial services sector, working with banks. And the difference in many people, at least what I observed, is that some of them join, or most people join, very well established banks, and then they kind of maintain what's out there. You've been joining some of these banks, you've been building scalable operations. So we'd love to learn more about how you've been able to succeed, what are the challenges you faced. But before we start, we'd love to hear more about you. Who is Mai? What's behind your passion when it comes to customer success and customer support?
Thank you so much, Adel. I'm really happy to be with you today in that great concept. And even the name itself, it's different. And you explained it in a very beautiful way. Who's Mai? Mai is someone who's very passionate about what she's doing. I just told you I love what I do and I do it with passion. And I guess that's the reason of that success. So, as you mentioned, yes, I'm leading client experience in a financial sector. And I've been leading the client experience in financial sector for the last 15 years plus, mainly in the customer experience, client experience, service, culture, changing culture. And my main belief is to lead with empathy. And when I say I lead with empathy, passionate about embedding the empathy within the strategy of the organization, not within the value of the organization. It's not just a trendy word that we need to add, empathy. No, it should be embedded within the strategy. So I've started my career with big banks, big names. And as you just said, maybe when you have something well established, you feel like you're in the comfort zone. But my passion was actually to build the culture of the client experience. And then I moved to two banks, my current employer and the previous one, where the culture of customer experience was not there. And that was the lovely challenge and the lovely passion where it started, really, building the culture of client experience and having people around me believe in the importance of it and believe in the importance of leaving a good feeling for people who deal with you. Because, you know, the traditional lovely statement that says people would forget what you say and they forget what you did, but they will never forget how they felt. So that was the passion, basically.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. What about now, since we're hearing so much buzz about AI agents, about bots? From your experience and your view, what are the pros and cons? What are the limitations? what can people take advantage of? What do you see that's also very soon becoming the norm in 2 years, or 3 years?
When it comes to my belief, I always believe in finding the balance between transformation and digital and having the AI tools and all this stuff with the human touch. I am a big believer in having the human touch at the heart of everything we do. So bots are brilliant. We can't say that. They're good for quick wins. They're good for quick checks. In financial sector, if customers want to check their balance, if they want to ask frequent questions, if they want to check the location of the branches, if they just want to ask quick questions, yes, bots are there to support them. But when it comes to anything that needs empathy, when a customer wants to complain or to report a fraud case or to ask about investment program, these complex transactions, bots are not the best option. I always say I believe that AI-empowered tools are there to empower a human to deliver better service, not to replace a human. So that's my statement, and I always believe in it.
Thank you. And are there any scenarios where actually technologies could be harmful to the relationship with the customers, to the company, to the agents?
Oh yeah, definitely. When it's harmful, when it's not reported on time. So imagine that you're a customer calling a bank to report a fraud case or a stolen card, and then you get answered by a bot, and then you repeat yourself 10 times, which happened. One of the cases when the customer actually repeated 10 times the request to report a fraud, when the fraudulent took his sweet time to have many transactions on the card. Maybe that was a couple of years back. Technology today is way better, but still, yes, it's harmful when it's not done in the right way and in the right time. We always say, Adel, technology is there, right? We can have the best technology ever, but are we utilizing it the right way? Do we really need it now? Is it useful for us? Does it add value? We need to answer all these questions before we implement any piece of technology in our organizations. So, yes, they're great, but we need to have that balance.
The whole purpose, of course, behind AI is to increase efficiency, right? So everyone wins. The company or the bank saves money and becomes more efficient, more productive. The agents become more productive. But where the limitations are, there is a challenge between the human touch, which you mentioned,
Yeah.
and then, so what's the North Star? What's the guide? Is there like a guiding framework that you could propose or suggest?
It's tempting to automate everything, right? It's very tempting because everything is there. And if you ask any tech-savvy colleagues, or they will always go for automation. Automation, we can automate this, we can automate this. But as humans, is it really what we're looking for? Do we really need to automate everything? Can we automate it? Yes, we can automate it. Do we really need to automate it now? No. Again, I will always go, my North Star is the empathy as a strategy, not as a value. So once you feel like anything can be automated, yes, but anything that needs empathy and someone that should feel what you say shouldn't be automated. That's a main statement.
Okay, thank you, May, for the clarification. Again, with AI, like you said, there is the element of empathy that usually AI lacks. But I'm assuming with time, with proper training, as technology evolves, the implementation or the simulation of empathy should become engineered within
True.
the AI's conversation, right?
True,
So,
100%.
but still, there is the element of trust as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
If someone speaks to me today, how will I know that they actually care about me? If they say, we will call you back, I open the ticket to the technical team or to the other team, I'll call you back, and then they will call me.
Yeah.
Or if I share a piece of info, whether it should be recorded or no, but usually there are protocols that the banks follow. Share the last 4 digits of your card. I'm assuming with AI as well, they will be able to maintain those constraints. I'm just brainstorming, like, what other challenges are there with trust?
You know, the banking field in general is a low trusted firm. Customers don't trust banks. Because even as a customer, you would always read the terms and conditions. You were always go for recorded lines. What's your name? How much you told me? What's the ratio here? What's the rate there? So there is no full trust in the financial sector. How to use the AI without compromising the trust? This is something essential. And I would say that transparency is the key. I'm going to give you an example, Adel. When we started using predictive models for the credit card offers, we just added a small tag next to it, why this offer is good for you. These small tags, these small questions would make customers feel happy that their data is private or you care about them, or it's not just a random offer that you're just throwing in my face and you're giving it to me and to everyone else. So adding these small comments will gain the trust back from customers. I am one of customers who don't really fully trust AI, and I need to feel that comfort that AI is utilized in the right way. So I would go for transparency as the main key for that.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Again, as transparency, this is where, like, without naming names of banks, I have accounts with two banks, and one of them, I just decided not to do any other transactions with them just because I had them before when I moved to Dubai. And the other one, I'm using them just because they're very transparent, their numbers. They share them on the website. I download it. If there is an update, they will. So as a consumer, I can tell that I like this transparency. So if you're telling me that AI can be used as a tool in the future to maintain that transparency as well, or take it even a step further because there is consistency, then that would be amazing. When that happens, yes.
Exactly.
This brings us to the other. So AI is one thing. You create consistency because you set the rules, right? But let's say now AI is not mature enough, and we as operating executives within a company, we need to create a scalable model, set blueprint and create a scalable model. Naturally, you put metrics, you put KPIs, but in most cases, people, if the team are not used to implementing those metrics or those KPIs, it will fail, right?
True.
So this is a two-question package, I would say. The first one is, what would be the ideal KPIs that we could start with? We're starting from scratch. And dealing with people, if we want them to get used to using these metrics and KPIs, for them to look at it as an option or a metric that helps them succeed, what are the things you do? I mean, how were you able to have multiple successes?
See, it might be a very simple and direct answer, but it really makes a big impact. Once you tie up the KPIs of frontliners and operation staff and everyone who deals with customer at all touch points with your basic Net Promoter Score, customer satisfaction score, the overall score for the whole organization, that would make people really care. So I'll give you an example. Our colleagues at the operations, usually they feel like they're unheard or unseen, and they just process transactions in the back office. You need to make them believe in what they do to start with, okay? So I had a training session with my colleagues at the operations, and then I was asking them about the transfers and remittances. I mean, do you know what's the impact that you're doing when you do these transfers? And the answer was like, we're just executing the transfer. We're not adding any value for the customer. And I'm like, you need to look at your job in a different way. You are fulfilling a need for the customer. When you process this transfer, you're paying for customers' university or for the bill of the hospital somewhere, or you're paying for the educational for their kid somewhere. So you're actually fulfilling the need for this customer. You're not just executing a transfer. That's to start with. You need to believe on what you're doing, and you're doing it in a different way. That's the first basic item. Then the second thing, you tie up the NPS and the customer satisfaction score and the mystery shopping result. Even if the mystery shopper is visiting a branch, the overall score should be tied up in the KPIs for the whole organization. This is when people really start to care. And even if I sit in the IT or in the risk or in the credit or in the compliance or wherever I sit, I will start doing my job differently because I know that there will be a positive impact in the customer journey if I do it in a different way. And I know that I will be measured also for that. So the whole concept will change. It's all about cultural change, Adel. It's not about setting values and numbers, honestly. It's changed the way we look at things, and then things will be better.
This also brings the cultural bit. So basically, you're telling me, Adil, you need to understand your purpose as part of the team. If you don't understand your purpose, your work becomes transactional.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent.
100% true. And that's why, and that's even if it goes for small things. I remember I went with my kids for a play area in a mall, and the guy at the entrance, I don't know, I wanted to complain about something or ask about something, and I was asking him, can you help me? And he's like, I'm just here to open the door and close the door. I'm not here to, maybe you can talk to someone else. And, I was telling him, you're not here only to open the door. You're opening a door of happiness for those little ones. When they see you, they see the happiness because you're opening that door of happiness for them. And I swear, I can remember his reaction. He was smiling and he's like, this is the first time I think about it this way. Now I'm happy. When I open this door, I feel like, yes, I'm opening a door of happiness. It's different. The way we look at things makes us really feel different about what we're doing.
I'm so curious to go and ask this person again, and interview them to understand exactly how their lives changed after that interaction.
It does. It does change. I swear, even small little words. We're talking about AI empowered tools, right? A small thing that we did in one of my previous organizations, while we're actually working on the script that will go to customers, we started adding emojis, smiley face, curious face, and it actually increased the usage of that chat by 20% minimum, just adding these emojis, because it makes a big difference. And that's what we mean when we say empathy as a strategy, not as a value. So you embed it literally in everything.
Yeah, that's an amazing approach. Yeah. Having moved into new organizations, trying to promote this way of thinking, I'm sure like anyone goes into a new organization, there is a level of buy-in that you need to get, and there is a level of resistance, and there is a bit of friction. What's your strategy? How were you able to win people over multiple times? And the reason I'm saying multiple times, it's because someone could get lucky once, but doing it multiple times, that means there is a strategy, there is an approach that works. What's your secret?
Storytelling. So I would say when I talk to board members or CEO or executive level, people, they're human, right? And people would always pay attention when you tell a story rather than share dashboards and numbers. And with all honesty, that's my strategy. So instead of sharing numbers, I give stories. I give examples of customers' feedback. I remember so we have like monthly client experience forum where the CEO and all Manco members and all executives attend. And in that meeting, I make sure that I have a story from customers directly to them. So I would play a call that happened at the contact center so they can hear it. I can tell them how many customers they're not logging back to our online channels after a failed digital login, because this will again tell a story. I would share with them an example of a positive customer's feedback. It's not always complaints, definitely. We also need to share the positive feedback. We need to share those customers who felt home when they went to our branches. All these stories will make huge impact and way bigger than just sharing dashboards and numbers and data. There is one more strategy of engaging our colleagues cross-functional way. So I would ask the head of compliance to come and take a call from the contact center. This was very successful initiative that I did in one of my previous organizations. So you would see the chief compliance officer taking a call. They will actually feel the pain. And funny, it happened once that the chief compliance officer was taking the call from the call center, and the call was asking about the reason of the delay in account opening. Luckily, that time, the reason of the delay was actually due to compliance approvals. And then it made him rethink of the way we're dealing with things, because he's like, we're taking our sweet time to approve and return the application and get it back, etc. while customers are suffering and they're asking because they want their salaries to be transferred and they need to use it to go buy their grocery. See, when you transfer what you're doing at the office to what customers do at the end, again, that will make the whole difference. So what's the main strategy? Storytelling all the way.
Excellent, excellent. This also brings another question, the culture. So I'm sure that before you join an organization, you make an assessment, and then you've got the head of compliance or the chief risk or compliance officer has to be open as well to that kind of feedback, and not only feedback, being involved, being open to new ideas.
Yeah.
In addition to your invitation as well. This brings the question of culture.
Mm-hmm.
And one of your statements is culture eats CX strategy for breakfast. So can you elaborate on that, please?
Culture always wins. So I'll give you an example. You might implement the best contact center solution ever, and you go for the best training sessions ever, and you communicate, you elaborate, you give the access to the system, you get the best headsets, you get the best setup. And then the team leader will come like, finish the call quickly because we have so many customers online, yeah? If the feedback from agents will be like, we're trying to deliver a better service, we're trying to ask if they need any further assistance, we're trying to give the time to that customer. And then the answer will be like, I don't care, just finish it because we have so many people online. This culture will kill whole efforts that you're doing. If you're trying to have a lovely environment in your branch or in your hotel, I'll share with you a personal example, and that's a patient experience, not a customer experience, just to share some examples away from financial sector as well. So I went to one of the hospitals. I went to the emergency room. And I am a person who would go to the doctor when I reach to the maximum. Like really, when I go to the hospital, I really need it. I don't just go for, unfortunately, but that's me, okay? So I went to the emergency and it was somewhere close by my office. That time they had inspection coming, so some people coming from the health authority to check on them. So they were closing all the emergency room and they were already with nice ties and suits waiting for those inspectors to come and to check their emergency. The core function of your emergency room is to actually receive patients like me when they arrive to you. What they did is they transferred me from the emergency room to one of the specialist doctors. I had to take the stairs and I had to wait in the waiting area and I had to open a new file, and that's not the concept. That's again another culture. Is it the culture of actually support the core function of your emergency room, of really supporting your patient because they're really in need? I mean, what's more than empathy needed there? Nothing else.
That's the only thing, yeah.
Rather than just shifting me randomly, yeah, go, we will transfer you to I don't know what doctor. For that case, I did complain because I know the head of customer experience there, and because I believe that it will help them to improve. So yes, you need to change the culture again by understanding why you're there. What is the value that you're adding? When you're at the reception at the emergency, the value that you will add is actually to support that poor patient in front of you, rather than telling them we have inspection. Excuse me. So yes, definitely. If we don't change the culture, the mindset, and the way we think about things, nothing will change, even if we had the best technology ever.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this. I know it's a personal example, but the whole idea behind it is because culture is not always determined by one main reason. So it usually has to a mix of change of policy, empowerment of the employees,
Yes.
empowering them to do the right thing as well, always, not just to. So you're absolutely right. And this whole escalating and complaining to the management, some companies, at least this is from my experience, look at it as a bad thing. Some employees look at it, oh, we received a complaint. While there
Yeah.
is other perspective, maybe you can give us, how do you use complaints to,
Complaints for me are gifts. Our CEO always tells us, don't tell me what I'm good at, tell me where I need to improve. And when we do the NPS, so we're okay with the promoters will be your promoters and they will be loyal to you. Detractors will give you their feedback, and they will complain. They will give you the feedback. So you know what's going wrong. So you know how to fix it, right? The scary part are the passive customers. Passive customers who don't complain, who will just leave you silently. So that's the scary part. So how would I look at those who complain? They're giving me a free gift of telling me what's going wrong across all my channels and where do I need to pay more attention and what do I need to fix. And what happens when we receive complaints? Like, let's say a customer would complain that there was a charge on online channel, while I know that it should be free, right? I don't really, the main purpose is not only to reverse the charge for this customer. We will reverse it, we will close the complaint, but we need to understand why it happened. So this is where you start your investigation, go for the root causes of the items, fix the actual case and the actual issue. So it's definitely a gift.
So I'm assuming you're making an effort to increase the number of complaints coming in.
I do.
Yeah.
To be honest, I do.
That's-
And it's not for the sake of registering complaints. It's for the sake of getting as much feedback as possible. And yes, I do have QR codes in the branches where I ask customers, if you have any feedback or suggestion or complaint, please share it. And you know, Adel, the beautiful thing in UAE, that mandate even comes from central bank. Like, talking about financial services, central bank issued the consumer protection regulations recently. And there is one full article on complaint management. So there are regulations for bank on how to log the complaint, how to solve the complaint, in how many days you're allowed to solve it, in how many days you need to escalate it. And it's mandated that we need to add the central bank escalation email in all our channels. So central bank understand the importance of the complaints, not again for the sake of collecting complaints. It's for the sake of improving. There is always room for improvement. If we see things around us going in the right way, customers might have the eagle eye who can come and tell you what's going wrong.
This also, since you mentioned the central bank, there is always an assumption, and I heard that a lot, and I think I'll continue hearing that a lot. If I'm not operating in the banking sector, why do I need to comply and implement these best practices? They're too expensive. What's your advice to people like that?
They're too expensive for a reason. There is nothing, there was no regulation that was mandated by central bank or any other regulations that was just set because we wanted to have it. There is a reason. And again, if we just understand the reason of having things and the reason of why do we need to implement this, again, we will look at things differently. So it's expensive. I would say it's not expensive. The expensive way is just to follow the trend and implement everything possible just to tick the box and say we implemented it. It's not expensive when you use the right channel and the right approach and the right tool for the right time and the right person. So as simple as that. Choose what we need to choose, implement it the right way, follow it up with your continuous improvement. The cost won't be as much high as those who just want to tick the box and say we implemented.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think the principles, if someone looks at the principles only, even if they're an e-commerce company, they're a SaaS company, if they're a retail shop, they can still implement the principles in different ways, even without a call center, right? Yeah. Thank you. Now, one other thing that I've noticed, you've been, touch wood, winning lots of awards for the past few years. You're participating a lot at these competitions, and which kind of highlights the level of confidence you have in whatever you implement, and it also shares the wins. And I'm assuming it motivates as well the team that see we've been able, all of this that we've been able to achieve or implement has been yes. So what's your view on that? Why do you participate there?
Why do I participate? Because first of all, I do what I do with full...
Sorry, before you continue, how many did you win so far? Have you kept track of them?
I stopped counting. I really don't count. It's just I do what I do with full of passion. I truly enjoy what I do. And I had that discussion with my brother. We were talking about what's the actual meaning of happiness. He told me, Your happiness is when you achieve something, or your happiness is when you actually deliver a message or share knowledge or share something with someone. And that's truly my happiness. You know, when I'm in the stage and sharing thoughts and raise this awareness about client experience and all these discussions, I feel happy. I feel like I'm responsible to share whatever I know with everyone. I feel I'm so happy when I see someone joining the field recently, young, fresh graduates, and I really feel I'm responsible to feed them what I've learned throughout these years to make them take the right career and take the right path. That's my happy moment. It's not the award, it's not the recognition, it's just the responsibility of sharing and the responsibility of sharing what I know and sharing my knowledge. That's what really makes me happy. Now, on the awards are great, of course. We all like to be awarded, right? But the actual award for me is customers' feedback. So the true award for me is when I get a positive feedback from customers to show that they're happy about what we're doing. This I will be like, okay, that's my award. So that's a team effort. That's the absolute reason that what we're all doing here.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing your personal story as well in this. I like
Thank you.
personal stories. They give depth
Yeah.
to
See,
the
I told
answer.
you storytelling. Without realizing, I just share stories. I feel like it delivers the message in a better way.
Yeah, excellent. So this brings a different topic. In the banking industry, things have been changing. It's been mainly male dominated for many years and started. Women have been able to establish their positions within the banking ecosystem, especially in leadership roles. You're a perfect example of overcoming any kind of those cultural challenges that you had to go through. So, can you please touch a bit on it? What could encourage the rest of us? I've got 3 daughters. I love them so much, and I want them to live in a world where there is fairness by merit, by effort, by knowledge, by capability, not by the gender or
Mhm.
the tribe or the nationality. So, yeah, would love
God,
your
God,
input. Thanks.
God bless them. God bless them. And inshallah, you'll see them where they want to be, you know, where their passion will lead them.
Yeah.
And because this is where they will exceed. Banking field is dominant by male. Yes, I would say honestly, yes. Fortunately, unfortunately. Yes. Sometimes I am the only executive, maybe meeting room. I'm the only female. Yes. But you know, the secret is, again, part of my responsibility is to empower women in the workplace. I even suggested recently to our training and development team that I need to give some training sessions on how to empower women in the workplace, how to make them take the right path to be in the leadership positions. And because my concept is we don't need to count women, we need women to count. And that's the main difference. Even if there is one lady in the room, to be heard and to be seen. We don't need to count how many ladies we have in the room. And that's the whole difference. So just empowering women in the workplace, having the right talent and the right skill set and the right mindset will make the big difference, regardless of what's the percentage of it. I hope we will reach to a time where we have 50% males, 50% females. But again, quality over quantity. That's fine.
You know, I hope that no one looks at this as a bias, but one of the secrets I have in implementing successful teams and projects is not looking at the gender, not looking purely being focused on the capabilities. And then I keep realizing that, you know what, most of the team members I bring on board are women.
Multitasking.
It's not only multitasking, it's the level of quality, like you said, especially when we're looking at creating a scalable team where people both follow the rules, but at the same time do understand the depth of what's needed, that empathy as well.
Empathy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
That's our secret.
exactly. So it's been, I don't like stereotyping, but that's an observation I have that because I've been able to stay focused on the output. And I'm not saying that I haven't hired males, I did. But then the winners, people who stick around, who actually succeed, are females.
I wanted to say that, Adel, but then it will look like
Yeah.
it's biased. But coming from you will have a bigger impact. So thank you for sharing.
Well, I'm glad you like that. But it's the honest truth. So thank you for sharing that other story as well, because you're absolutely right. It's about not only with females. I believe it's finding the introverts as well, the quiet ones, not the introverts, the quiet ones, the ones that are usually more observant, they speak less, and which mostly happens to women. They usually have good observations that they can share and we can learn from as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's, I guess all men will agree on that. We
Yeah.
do have a good observation. We know all the details,
Yeah.
and we can share so many stories.
Amazing. Amazing. You mentioned as well that you implemented a program. So I'm assuming part of that program is also mentorship, right? So how do you manage that mentorship? I'm assuming it's beyond just women, like succession planning, mentorship, because that's part of the roadmap to create a scalable team or scalable
Yes,
operation.
definitely. So we actually started a buddy program for junior colleagues at the CX because, again, I believe like those who take the career of CX are the ones who really believe in the importance of it. So once they're junior and they started their career now, we have that buddy program. So you go with one of the senior staff within the team or where your passion would lead you. Like you're passionate about the complaints handling, you're passionate. I'm just talking about the CX field, right? You're passionate about the client engagement and customers' feedback. You're passionate about the process re-engineering, maybe from the customer's point of view. So we see where do you really fit, and then we have those junior colleagues as part of it. And the happiest moment is when actually so under my in my team I have many subunits. So I have the contact center, complaints team, process re-engineering, CPR, etc. And the happiest moment is when I'm getting approached by other colleagues within the organization asking for my team members to join them because they can see the quality and the cross-functional exposure that they have. So yes, this is a program that we started, and I would advise everyone, even if you don't have a mentorship program within your organization, just start it with yourself internally within your team. I always call my team as a family. Like whatever you feel, just share it loudly. Whatever you want to think loudly, whatever you want to say, just say it. Don't feel it's silly. So internally, we can do these programs and then we can maybe have it across the whole organization. Did it help? Definitely helped. In the past 2 years, I had at least 6, 7 of my colleagues moving from one department to another within the same organization for bigger role and bigger responsibilities. And that really made me happy.
Excellent. I like your energy, your spirit. I'm assuming there are many workplaces, especially established workplaces, there are skeptics that come in and try to ruin the energy within the team. But being persistent and creating those success stories you're talking about, I'm assuming that they would just disappear with time. So,
Yeah, I guess this energy and that positive attitude is the only thing you need to keep on daily basis to keep going, honestly. To set a challenge for yourself every year is something essential you need to have. To set the positive vibe, and I believe in the vibes that you bring to the place. Like if you decide in the morning that you want to be positive and you want to be happy, you will be positive and happy, and all good things will happen to you. So we need to keep this up, definitely, to keep moving and to keep going.
thank you for sharing. This is absolutely a confirmation of that contagious positive mindset that is important to succeed in such a role.
Definitely.
We have one question that we ask all of our guests as a final question, which you answered, but I'll ask it anyways. 50 years from now, what do you want people to remember May by?
Good question. 50 years from now, inshallah, if we're still there, but they will remember, I would people to remember me as a human being who made people feel seen and heard. I wouldn't add anything else more than that, honestly. That makes me truly happy if just people think about it this way.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, May. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your stories. Thank you for bringing that genuine positive energy to the show. So
Thank you so much,
it's been
Adel.
really fun. It's been really fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I truly enjoyed the discussion. It feels like it's a very friendly discussion that added so much value. So thank you so much for hosting me. Really appreciate it. I
Very good.
enjoyed it.
Great to have
Thank you.
That's a wrap for our episode today. Thank you so much for tuning in. A huge thank you to Mai for sharing such grounded, powerful insights. Her stories prove that customer experience isn't a soft skill. It's a core business discipline that drives real growth and resilience. Most of us neglect the details when we're busy with our day-to-day business, going to the office, dealing with the day-to-day problems. We tend to forget and get derailed from this discipline. I'm hoping that you all have gained and learned from our discussion with Mai today. If Mai's insights sparked an idea for you or your team, you can connect with her directly. We will leave the link to her profile in the description of this episode. We've also linked the HBR articles we mentioned in this episode as well for your reference, so you can go through them at your own convenience. If this episode resonated with you and you found it useful, please make sure you like, you subscribe, and share it with someone who could find it useful as well. If you have a suggestion for a future guest that you believe this person is a science warrior, please tag their name within the comments or send their name and their profile to our email info@sciencewarriors.com. We'll share also the link to the email in the description below. Remember, behind every market breakthrough, there is a science warrior. Engineering, sustainable successes, sustainable implementations, enhancement projects that could take us closer towards operational excellence. Again, this is Adel Hameed reminding you that operational excellence is built one small step at a time. The best way to master a domain or a discipline while you're building that operational excellence is to learn through hands-on experience as you progress. Learn on the go. Thank you again for tuning in. See you in the next episode.